Hello everyone. Today we're presenting an information security plan development plan for Acme Company. The goal is to give a clear executive level approach that focuses on business outcomes, governance, and the key decisions needed to start quickly. My name is Christian Kalipusan and I'll be leading this presentation. I'm joined by my teammates Alec Payne, Yuri Kim, and Ryan Facetta. Together, we'll explain why Acme needs an ISP now, what risks are driving urgency, and what the plan will include, and what decisions and next steps will help leadership move forward with confidence. To set the stage, this presentation is an executive briefing designed for Acme's CEO and C-suite. The focus is on building a practical information security plan that supports continuity, reduces operational risk, and creates consistent security standards that can scale with the business. Together, we'll explain why Acme needs an ISP now, what risks are driving urgency, and what the plan will include, and what decisions and next steps will help leadership move forward with confidence. Here's the path we'll follow. First, we'll cover why an information security plan is needed now. Next, we'll summarize Acme's risk landscape and the potential business impact. Then we'll outline what the ISP will include, including the structure and the core policies that support it. After that, we'll clarify who must be involved and how governance should work. Finally, we'll close with the proposed roadmap and the executive decisions needed to begin immediately. Acme's current environment creates a higher risk operating reality, especially as the company scales. Acme has about 100 employees in the New Orleans area, which increases continuity risk due to hurricane exposure. The workforce is also hybrid, with roughly half of employees working remotely, which expands the number of access paths that need to be controlled and monitored. On top of that, Acme is planning rapid growth with about 30 additional hires in the next 6 months, which means more people, more endpoints, and more user accounts to secure. The technology environment is also hybrid, combining on-prem infrastructure with Microsoft Azure services. A strong starting point is that Acme uses company-issued devices only, which helps reduce unmanaged device risk. The main challenge is that as the company grows, security must remain consistent while uptime stays critical. That is exactly what an ISP helps enforce. An information security plan is the first step because it creates a written, repeatable way to protect the business. Without a plan, security tends to become inconsistent and reactive. During rapid hiring, it becomes easier for assets to go untracked, approvals to become unclear, and gaps to form in access and onboarding processes. Those are the types of weaknesses attackers exploit, and they also increase the chance that hurricanes or cyber incidents turn into full business interruptions. With an ISP in place, Acme gains clear ownership, consistent standards, and a practical playbook for prevention and response. It becomes the foundation for business continuity, evidence for compliance needs, and secure support for remote work as the company scales. At its core, an ISP is a written guide that defines how Acme protects systems and information to support continuity, reduce risk, and protect confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It is not just an IT document. It requires cross-department ownership and executive sponsorship to succeed.
ACME top risk drivers. ACME faces several key risks that could disrupt business operations. First, hurricanes and extended outages can damage facilities, cut power, and prevent access to on-premise systems, which can stop production. Second, ransomware attacks are a serious threat. A single intrusion could shut down manufacturing systems and lead to costly downtime and recovery efforts. Third, phishing and credential compromises increasing due to remote work, making employees more vulnerable to email attacks and account takeovers. ACME also faces control gaps during rapid growth, where fast onboarding can cause system misconfiguration and attract assets. Additionally, managing both on-premise and cloud system increases complexity and creates security gaps without consistent standards. Finally, third-party vendors introduce risk if access controls and security requirements are not properly enforced. Quantitative risk analysis. This chart shows the cost of security controls compared to the estimated losses they help avoid. Access control previous the highest return with about $39,000 in cost, avoiding roughly $150,000 in losses. Resilience controls such as backups and disaster recovery also show strong value by preventing major outage-related losses. Visibility controls have a more moderate return, but they still help reduce risk by improving detection and response. Network controls have a lower return compared to other categories, so they are a lower appropriate from cost perspective. Training stand out as low-cost, high-impact control, delivering strong risk reduction for relative small investment. Security frame in executive outcomes. When security is framed around executive outcomes, the information security program focuses on protecting business priorities. First, manufacturing uptime. The ISP helps reduce disruption that delayed production and customer deliveries. Second, hurricane continuity. It ensures critical operation can continue or be quickly restored during severe weather. Third, secure remote work. Employees can work remotely without increasing the risk of unauthorized access or data loss. Fourth, control onboarding. Hiring is made repeatable, so accounts, devices, and permissions are consistently managed as the company grows. Finally, budget discipline. The ISP privileges high-impact controls that reduce the most risk for each dollar spent. Slide 8. Scope and baseline assumption. The scope includes all ACME locations, employees, contractors, and approved vendors. It covers manufacturing systems, remote work, cloud services, and all company data and systems. The baseline assumptions are practical. ACME uses hybrid environment with on-premise system and Microsoft Azure. Employees use company-issued devices that are centrally managed. Basic security controls like multi-factor authentication, VPN access, and standard configuration are in place. Since the budget is limited, the focus is on controls that reduce the most risk for the lowest cost, with a minimum goal of CMMC Level 1. The ISP boundary is built around three areas: people, which includes roles and security training; process, which includes policies and repeatable workflows; and technology, which enforces security standards across both on-site and remote work. Thank you.
I'd like to dive into the major sections of Acme's proposed ISP and how it provides a clear, practical framework to manage risk, respond to incidents, and protect what matters most to the business. Much of the ISP is structured around governance, risk management, and operational continuity. Starting with governance and roles, this ensures decisions and accountability are clearly defined. Executives should approve policies and accept risk, while IT and security implement the technical controls and report progress. This structure creates accountability, transparency, and a consistent reporting structure in the event of an incident and communications during a crisis. From a risk management perspective, the ISP standardizes how risks are identified, prioritized, treated, or formally accepted. This is tightly aligned with business continuity and disaster recovery, including hurricane-ready backups, defined recovery plans, and frequent testing to ensure the plans are practical and repeatable. For day-to-day operations, the ISP covers asset management and data classification, so we can inventory and protect our most critical systems and information. Since we're a furniture manufacturing company, some of our most important data revolves around payment information from vendors and customers, as well as internal employee information. Clear requirements will result in privacy policies, for example, which will ensure external partners and customers have confidence that their data is protected. Accountability that proper asset management and data classification controls are working can be monitored by core security tools. This includes identity and access management, logging, monitoring, vulnerability management, and endpoint configuration baselines. These are all built on least privilege MFA, multi-factor authentication, and secure default settings provided by our proposed infrastructure. Finally, the ISP emphasizes security awareness, compliance, and audit evidence, thus reducing human error through repeatable training and taking evidence-first approach so the controls are measurable and defensible. This will limit both cyber and physical intrusions. Listed here are some proposed policies that could bring the ISP to life. These policies provide the formal responsibilities of the organization and its employees. Without clear guidelines and accountability, unacceptable behavior has no repercussions. Data protection controls can easily be avoided, and response to incidents can be organized. While IT and security teams are typically responsible for providing technical expertise that the policies outline, governance and oversight from executives is required to ensure that business processes integrate well with technical decisions. We propose that executives approve policies, while IT and security will implement the technical controls. This can come in the form of monthly meetings and policy revisions with all the necessary parties involved, or a change control board of sorts.
The departments involved in why is very important because while security teams will establish the technical standards, a successful information security plan is a cross-department effort. We're not just looking at the servers, we're looking at how Acme will actually operate. For instance, operations help us align controls with our manufacturing uptime needs. HR is a vital part for standardizing our joiner mover lever processes and training. Finance is very important because it partners us to measure risk reduction against every dollar spent, while legal ensures our vendor contracts actually protect our interests. Ultimately, we need our business unit leaders to ensure that these policies are practical and adopted across all teams. This collaboration is what makes the ISP a living document. For the proposed development roadmap, we've broken this up implementation into 3 clear phases to build a foundation that scales. For the first 30 days are about alignment, confirming the scope, forming the steering committee, and launching initial security awareness training. When you're going into the 30 to 90-day window, we get more tactical. This includes formalizing our asset inventory, enabling the MFA, which is critical for the New Orleans location in case of natural disasters, and validating our hurricane recovery steps, like I said. By the 180-day mark, we move into advanced operations. We'll have centralized logging, formal vendor requirements, and a repeatable process for capturing compliance evidence. This timeline is a practical starting point, and we'll remain agile to adjust based on your priorities. What we need from the leadership is to unlock this progress. We need 5 specific commitments from the leadership team. Policy authority, we need to back these standards so they are enforced consistently across every department, not just a few. Time and participation. We require a dedication of every department's time and from your stakeholders for workshops and steering decisions. Budget for high impact controls. We ask for funding to prioritize the controls that reduce the most risk under our current constraints. For risk and acceptance ownership, when the business chooses to accept a risk, we need that to be explicit in a documented decision. For visible sponsorship, most importantly, we need you to communicate that security, business continuity are operational priorities at Acme. The visible support, the CEO, executive board is what makes this plan real.
To move forward quickly, there are 3 executive decisions needed up front. First, confirm the scope and baseline, including the minimum target baseline Acme wants to meet. Second, appoint the steering committee members and identify the security program owner who will be accountable for driving progress. Third, align on the top 3 priorities that reduce near-term disruption risk, especially related to hurricanes, remote access, and rapid growth. From there, the first month should focus on execution. That begins with a kickoff workshop that includes all key stakeholders. Next, establish a starting point for asset inventory and access review. Then produce a draft ISP outline and the initial policy set for leadership review. Finally, set a consistent cadence with monthly steering committee meetings and a quarterly executive risk briefing. Success is measurable. Within 90 days, Acme should have an approved ISP outline and core policies, a functioning steering committee, standardized access and device baselines, and a tested response and recovery playbook for both cyber incidents and hurricanes. To close, the purpose of this plan is to help Acme protect what matters most: operational uptime, resilience during regional disruptions, and secure growth as the company scales. A strong ISP makes security repeatable, accountable, and aligned to business priorities so incidents are less likely to escalate into production-stopping events. Again, this is Group 6, and thank you for watching.